Hello everyone and welcome to DDN, or Dungeons & Dragons Neverwinter. Today I'm here on the class selection screen talking a bit about the classes that you will play once you get into the game. Yesterday I talked about the race selection and what races work with what classes. Today we're moving on to the classes. Okay, let's start off with the Trickster Rogue. As you can see, the Trickster Rogue is probably one of the easiest classes to play. If you're new to MMOs or new to Dungeons & Dragons, this one will probably suit you quite well. You can deal a lot of damage with moderate survivability due to all the jumping around you're going to be doing in combat. The Trickster Rogue's objective is to deal a lot of single target damage and do a lot of crits. This is why their role are the attackers in the team. Their secondary role is controlling the amount of enemies, although they're not as good at doing that. So your primary role should be to attack and engage while being supported by your tanks and healers. The Great Weapon Fighter is primarily the striker in the team. They are probably one of the harder classes to play in the game due to the fact that they're an all-round class but not very good at anything, which is a bit of a shame because they've really got something going for them carrying around these massive swords with them. The playstyle with these guys is to charge in and do as much damage as you can. They've got somewhat medium survivability due to the armor they wear, but they're not that great at even surviving, so they're not the best class. You only take this one if you're kind of ready for the challenge. Next up, we've got the Devoted Cleric. The Devoted Cleric is the healer in the game. The primary job of the Cleric is as a leader. This is due to the fact that they can boost your team's morale while making the enemies run and hide in fear of your unstoppable might. They're good at moderate DPS, so they can do some damage. Their playstyle is obviously to hold back, heal the rest of the team, support the team in multiple different ways. They've got moderate survivability due again to the armor they are wearing. We've got the Guardian Fighter. The Guardian Fighter is the tank in this game, and the class I've been playing the most of, so I can talk quite a lot about this one. The Guardian's job is primarily defense, obviously. Your job is to stand in the middle of combat and take everything coming at you. Obviously, this can be a bit of a challenge if your team isn't up to standard, but with a good Cleric, you will be staying alive for a long time. The secondary role of the Guardian is as a leader, taking over if you don't have a Cleric or your Cleric dies, which would be unfortunate. The Guardian's job is, as I said, to hold the line and just take the DPS. Their DPS themselves isn't that bad. They can deal a bit of punishment out to whatever's coming at them. And obviously due to their survivability, they can keep dealing this punishment out for a long period of time. They're probably a moderate difficulty level. You should probably attempt one if you've had a bit of experience before, or if you're willing to accept a challenge if you're new to MMOs, and don't want to go in at the deep end with the Great Weapon Fighter. Finally, we have the Control Wizard. The Control Wizard's primary objective is as a controller. They're meant to control the battlefield, as their name might suggest. The job of the Control Wizard is to keep the enemies back from your team, freeze enemies, disable them, stun them, do as much as you can to keep the hordes of goblins or whatever you're fighting away from your team. Their secondary job is the striker. They deal moderate damage to opponents. Their survivability is minimal, due obviously to the armor they're wearing. I mean, this one would be slashed across the belly very easily. The skill level is very high because there's a lot of different things going on with the Control Wizard that you need to do to be decent at the game, which is why I would say only take this one if you're experienced with other MMOs or you're experienced in this MMO. I wouldn't suggest it for new players. But anyway, that's an overall look at the classes in Dungeons & Dragons Neverwinter. The classes are varied in their playstyles, although they're still lacking. I still believe there needs to be a ranger, but there is this coming soon button, so it could be coming next. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you all in-game.